Welcome back to our little utility vehicle, folks. Today, on the Land Pride 4410, the first bit of our series of what's the deal with this shifter, the parking brake. I mentioned in our last utility vehicle video about the linear actuator for the dump bed there. This gear shift has a bit of sticky business going on. There are two different forks in here that this engages that never want to line up properly. They're supposed to stay centered when you're disengaged from them. Now the deal is there are two cables here, one on this side operating the forward or reverse lever, and another attached to the fork on this side operating the parking brake or no parking brake lever. And if you look back here at the other end of the parking brake cable, it was apparent when we acquired this vehicle that the parking brake had been on for quite some time, and so worn down and ceased to be a parking brake. This is still in the parking brake on pulled position. This wedges down here against these two pads that clamp this disc, a single disc for the whole parking brake there. Fortunately though, it looks like there is some pad remaining in there, and these bolts should adjust the clearance here once we figure out what's up here and get this cable freed up. So firstishly, let's just get this cable separated from the lever here. We'll just pull the pin out of the pin there and remove the pin. And this one immediately springs back. Alright, good sign for that end. And it looks like that is now the position that wants to be in, and in the center there, because it squeezes the brake pads together in either direction. So that looks pretty good. This cable, however, is awfully stuck. And here we can begin to see why. So I'll just try to shoot some penetrant down that. And with that moistened, it's once again time to take up smoking. Well, you know, I was trying to avoid this on this episode, but it kind of feels like this cable has got a little freedom at this end. And like the trouble might be at the other end. Which means that it's time to get this front plastic crap off of this machine, which is its worst design feature that I have noticed so far, as it is just screwed, probably machine screwed there, or bolted down all the way around. Not very convenient. Seems like at the front end of a vehicle you could have like some kind of a hinged panel of some sort. I don't know what you would call that. That's okay. I'm not putting it back. We've got to go all the way around the perimeter and find all the fasteners. And this one's behind this. I have to take this instrument panel-y thing out of the way and pry her off of there. Oh yeah, and then of course under here the roll cage is bolted through this panel, so I have to take that loose at both sides and pry it out of the way. Brilliant, brilliant. Phillips headed bolts. Yes, glad I didn't have to look at that unsightly bolt head. Can have a nice rusty Phillips. Now everything's out of the perimeter of this front cover except the screw behind the instrument panel. So I can unscrew the instrument panel just for that. Let's see, we got some stupid plastic things with Phillips heads on them. They're there, and two underneath. And I just pry the outer part of it out there. And back comes the instrument panel. There it is. So we can get to that stupid screw. Now we've got the whole perimeter detached. And we're down to this business here. With the roll cage going through the stupid body piece. What a brilliant idea. But fortunately, I think I figured out a way around this. I don't know, I've been going over it in my head here and might have missed some of the particulars. Let's see if this works. Get off of there, you piece of crap! Try to ruin my life! I don't have to put up with this from plastic! Well, there's most of her. Okay, might have been slightly overzealous there, but you know, I got him worse than he got me. Miserable piece of crap. Freaking inanimate objects. Always trying to screw you. I'll show you, inanimate! But now we have great access to all the workings. And look, a master cylinder. That was a great spot for that. Under a... yeah. But anyway, with my finger tape back on and most of the blood mopped up, those of you with any constructory skills can now easily see how this front end could be a whole lot more useful. Lots of space there, lots of sturdy steel to fasten things to. Tremendous potential, but more on that later. So here on the back of the gear shift parking brake assembly, there are those two forks. What the lever engages, and the lever just is held by this these thick rubber washers here, held naturally toward the center. You shove it one way to engage the forward reverse fork here, and the other way to engage the parking brake fork. And I think I can see what has happened here. The top bit of the forward reverse fork has been bent out of the way. But after letting the rear end of this cable soak during my battle with the front end, I came back here and inserted my screwdriver for a nice handle here and gave it a swift yank. And the cable travels from one end to the other of its necessary travel distance now. And I think that will just take some thin lubricant down the cable there. And a vow not to let this thing sit around like those other folks did. And perhaps not to operate it while drunk. Okay, there is hopefully a good shot of the disalignment of the top and bottom portion of this forward reverse fork. With the long pry bar, I'll just yar. Like so. Alright, after a few times back and forth with that cable, I can now pull it back to position back here without my assistance handle. So let's reattach that and see how it goes. Alright, a little bit more back and forth, and that's working pretty well. That sometimes doesn't come quite all the way back there. So I think for that, the final adjustment, there is this adjustment of the length of the cable. That'll, if I shorten that up a bit, if I tighten this, that should help it to pull back that slack in the cable. So just use my 10mm wrench So loosen this jam nut. Back that out of the way. Pull the pin in the pin. And tighten this up a bit. I'm going to have to hold on to this cable on the flats right there. And then also give a bit of lubrication to the levering parts of the parking brake without spraying it all over the brake pads and disc. Now with that pretty much freed up, it's time to adjust the parking brake here. Tightening up these bolts a little bit so that the brake pads are just touching the disc in the release position, because this doesn't travel very far. Never mind, looks like that is locked in place there. We'll have to do all of the adjustment with this one on the cable. Pull that until it just touches there. Well, looks like that's pretty much all the way. Way to leave the parking brake on, guys. Alright, now there's some brake tension when you shove that up, and everything stays aligned. Let's take it for a spin. Let's see about that parking brake. Not quite. Okay, the lever operation is nice. And the shifting, it looks like this parking brake requires further investigation. I've got this cable adjusted about as far as it will go, and soon it will run into this bracket as well. So let's take this caliper off, hopefully, by loosening this long bolt here and the other one, and verify that there's usable pad surface left there, and then perhaps put some kind of a shim in it. There we are. And yep, that's a pad alright. Clean the disc while we're at it. And upon disassembly of the caliper, look here. Shims. Meaning I can add another shim. And under here, be careful not to lose these balls. I think I found the perfect shim here, thickness wise anyway, not so much in the hole diameter, but can't go too far. If I put it in between two of these, it ought to be relatively under control, or maybe farther down the stack. There, underneath all those thin ones. Careful! There we go. Alright, let's see how that fits. Pretty close. Almost touching, but no friction. Now I'll have to readjust this cable for a new fit, because it's starting to grip already. Just like that. Now let's try this again. And park. Aha! We're parked! Oh, sorry folks. I guess this isn't exactly fair. I've got a little bit better night vision than most. Here's what it looks like to me. Pretty steep, eh? and they wanted us to buy new pads. You gotta watch them. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.